Okay, boys and girls, this is for lesson 6.4, and it's for the other lessons too, but here's some notes first. Let's just review the notes that we went over in class, and this will help us out. So when you're doing a percent, basically you have a formula, and this formula will help you with everything. It's really, you're giving a percent, you're going to multiply it by your total or the whole, and that will give you an amount. And all you need to do and remember is just fill in what you know, and what you don't know is a variable. So, for example, let's say 45% of all the students are girls, and there's 120 girls. 120 students. So what we need to do is I just said 45% of the total of students, which is 120, will give us the amount. So all I did was fill in what I know, and if I do the multiplication, which is 0.45 times 120, so 0.45 times 120 is going to equal 54. So that would be 54 girls. So let's do another one, but just a tad bit different. Okay, let's say I give you an amount, and we'll say 45% are girls. There are 54 girls. What is the total? And if I don't know the total, I put a variable, and the variable is going to be y. So what I do is I'm going to isolate the variable, so I need to divide by 45%, or 0.45. It's the same number. And when you do that, let me just move this up a little bit, you're going to get y equals 54 divided by 0.45, and you're going to get 120, so 120 total students. Okay, commission is what someone earns on a sale. So for example, if you earn 3% on a sale of a refrigerator and your commission is $75, how much is, let's say it says oven, it's supposed to be refrigerator, it's a typo. So it's supposed to be refrigerator. Okay, so what you're going to do is fill in what you know. I earned 3% on a sale of a refrigerator. Okay, so it's 3% of blank. I don't know what the total is of the refrigerator, and it equals $75. So we'll put a y there. So it's going to be 3%, which is 0.03, times y equals 75. So to figure out what that is, you just divide by 0.03, divide by 0.03, and y is going to equal 75 divided by 0.03, and the answer is $2,500. So the refrigerator costs $2,500. Okay, a couple more notes. Oops. Sales tax. So there's a couple ways to do sales tax. Sales tax is added to the total price. So let's say you went to a store and you went and you bought a video game and it's $50. You paid 6% sales tax. That's what the sales tax is in Pennsylvania. How much did you pay in all? So there's really two ways to do this. One way is, again, I know that it's 6% times what do I have? It's $50. So 6% times $50 is going to give me what my sales tax is, and that's $3. And then you would add that to your total of 50, and that will give you $53. There's another way to do this, though, and we went over in class, is 106. You multiply 106% times 50, and that will immediately give you your answer of $53. And the reason why is because you have the 1 there, and the 1 is actually 100%. So you have 100% of 50, which is 50, and then you just add the 6%, which is $3, so it'll be $53. Okay, one more thing we have to make sure that we understand is this. Interest. Interest is the amount a bank pays you on your total balance. So they give you money. So for example, if you had $300 and the bank pays you 4% interest, how much do you have in all? So again, it's very similar to the sales tax. So we take 4%, you're going to times it by 300, and that's going to give you $12. You add the $12 to the 300, and then you're going to have $312 in all. Or you just have to multiply by 104, because again, 100% of 300 is 300, and then 4% of 300 is 12, and it automatically will add it together for you. So either way works. Okay, so let's move on to our problems now. Okay, let's go over our homework now. So number one says Ella collects 50 bottles to recycle. Of the bottles that she collects, 19 are plastic and the rest are glass. So we want to figure out what percent of the bottles are plastic and then what percent are glass. Okay, so for the first one, you could do it a couple ways real quick. The first way is this. So we're trying to figure out percent. So the percent, we know that percent really is the part over the whole, and then you would times it by 100. So the part is 19 divided by 50, and you multiply it by 100, or 100%, 100, and then that's going to give you your answer. So if you take 19 divided by 50, you can get 0.38, and you times it by 100, and you're going to get 38%. So you could do it like that, and that would work out perfect. Another way to do it, though, and let me just erase this real quick, is to write it like this. So we know that we have, we don't know the percent, times, we're just using our formula, our total is 50, equals, we have 19 is the amount we have when we multiply by our percent. So what we don't know is, we don't know our percent. So what do I need to do is divide by 50, and n, which is our percent, is going to equal 19 divided by 50. So 19 divided by 50 is 0.38, but we have to make it into a percent. So we just multiply it, you should know, multiply by 100. So if you multiply by 100, you get 38%. So either way works, it doesn't really matter. Let me just delete these. Okay, B, you could do yourselves, that's fairly easy. Let's move on to the commission one. So it says the salesperson receives a 5% commission on the sale of each car. If the commission on the car is $490, what's the price of the car? So we need to figure out what the price of the car was originally. Okay, so we're going to use a formula for this one. So we have 5% times the total of the car. And when I say total of the car, I mean how much the car cost, equals his commission, which is $490. So we have total, which you know to put in a variable. So we'll take, first of all, let's change this to 0.05 times, we'll do y, equals 490. So all you have to do here is divide by 0.05, divide by 0.05, and y will equal blank. You guys could solve that at home, and that will give you your answer. Okay, so the second one, or number 3, is very similar to number 2, so I'm going to just move on here. Okay, so it says Darrell and his 3 cousins are dining at a restaurant, and let me just make it a little bigger. Their bill is $60, plus they have to pay 15% for service charge. Okay, and then we have to figure out how much each person pays. So real quick, service charge is the same thing as their tip. So it costs $60, so we have 15%. Let's go backwards. We have 15% for the total of the service. So it's 15%. Let's figure out how much the tip is, times the bill, which is 60, and that's going to give you $9. But that's just for the tip. So what you would need to do is add the 60 plus the 9, and that would give you the total. So that's $69 for the whole bill. So they share equally, and we know that share equally means to divide, and you would need to divide by 4. The other way to do it a little bit quicker is to do it like what we talked about in class, is you can take 15%, let's make it 115%, times it by 60. And if you do that, which 115% is 1.15 times 60, right away you're going to get 69 as your answer. So you didn't have to add that 9 to the 60. All right, let's try, okay, so let's try number 5. We'll do part of number 5. So Diana invests $25,000 in a bank at the beginning of the year. She receives 7% interest at the end of the year, but she will have to pay 16% tax on the interest received. So it says, how much interest will she earn after she pays the tax? So we have to do a couple things. So first of all, I'm going to take, she receives 7% interest on the $25,000. So we have to figure out how much interest she needs first. So we have to figure out that interest. So when you multiply 7% times 25,000, which remember 7% is 0.075, you're going to get $1,750. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, let me just double check. Times. Yeah, $1,750. Sorry. Okay, so that's how much interest she receives. But she'll have to pay 16% tax on the interest. So it says how much interest will she receive after she pays the tax. Well, she has to pay 16% tax on this $1,750. Now, there's two ways to do this. One way is this. This is what she has to pay. So if we figure this out and we multiply 0.16 times 1750, I get 280. But 280 is how much she's going to pay. She has to pay that. That's not what we're asking for. It says how much will she earn. So what I would need to do is take the $280 and subtract it from the $1,750, and that'll give me my answer. But there's actually a little bit of a better way to do this. In that way, let me just erase some of this. Is this? So we know that she makes $1,750 of interest. That's how much she gets. She pays the tax of 16%. So if she pays 16%, the question is how much does she actually keep? What percentage? Well, if she pays 16%, she keeps 84% because remember, percentages are based on 100. So I want to know how much she keeps. So it's 84% times 1750, and that will give you your answer right away of how much she will keep. So, or how much she will earn. So that I would do it like that way. It's just a little bit quicker and easier. What percent of Diana's investment is the interest after paying the tax? Okay, so what we're going to do here is what percent, so we don't know the percent of, so what percent of Diana's investment, so we're going to multiply it by 25,000 because that's what she has as she puts into the bank, is the interest. So the interest we know is $1,470. And if you solve for n, you're going to figure out then what her percent is going to be. Okay, last one that we're going to do is, it's a little tricky, but it says Lee buys number 7. Lee buys a computer and printer for 2028. The printer costs 30% price of the computer. What is the price of the computer? Okay, so first of all, we have to figure out what we already know. What we do know is that the computer costs 100%, and the printer costs 30%. Together, they equal 2028. Okay, so the easiest way to do this problem is let's add up the percentage. So 130% is going to equal 2028. So what I like to try to figure out here is how much is 1%, just 1%. To solve that, all we have to do is divide by 130. And when you divide by 130, oops, I wrote it wrong. You can get 2028 divided by 130, and you, oops, I just did it wrong. 2028 divided by 130, and you're going to get 15.6. So 1% will equal 15.6. That's key, that number right there. So let's go back to our problem. Let me just erase a little bit. So if 1% equals 15.6, now we could figure out how much each part is, or the printer versus the computer. Well, if I wanted to, I could figure out the computer is 100%. So we times that by the 1%, which is 15.6, and that'll give us our answer. You could also do the printer like this too, because if you take 30% and you times it by 15.6, you're going to get your answer for the printer. So either way works. So one of the easiest ways is to get how much 1% costs, and once you do that, then you can multiply by how much each percentage is, and that will give you the answer.